At any rate, there was the beautiful woman, the Khania, for I saw her plenty of times afterwards and talked to her in my best modern Greek, by the way. Ayesha knew the old Greek, that's curious. She knew several of the ancient tongues, and so did other people. Go on." "Well, she nursed me very kindly, but so far as I know, until last night there was nothing more affectionate, and I had sense enough to refuse to talk about our somewhat eventful past. I pretended not to understand, said that we were explorers, etc., and kept asking her where you were, for I forgot to say I found that you had gone. I think that she grew rather angry with me, for she wanted to know something, and, as you can guess, I wanted to know a good deal, but I could get nothing out of her except that she was the Khania, a person in authority. There was no doubt about that, for when one of those slaves or servants came in and interrupted her while she was trying to draw the facts out of me, she called to some of her people to throw him out of the window, and he only saved himself by going down the stairs very quickly. Well, I could make nothing of her and she could make little of me, though why she should be so tenderly interested in a stranger I do not know, unless oh, who is she, Horace? If you will go on I will tell you what I think presently, one tale at a time." "Very good. I got quite well and strong, comparatively speaking, till the climax last night, which upset me again. After that old prophet Simbri had brought me my supper, just as I was thinking of going to sleep, the Khania came in alone, dressed like a queen. I can tell you she looked really royal, like a princess in a fairy book, with a crown on, and her chestnut black hair flowing round her. Well, Horace, then she began to make love to me in a refined sort of way, or so I thought, looked at me and sighed, saying that we had known each other in the past very well indeed, I gathered, and implying that she wished to continue our friendship. I fenced with her as best I could, but a man feels fairly helpless lying on his back with a very handsome and very imperial looking lady standing over him and paying him compliments. The end of it was that, driven to it by her questions and to stop that sort of thing, I told her that I was looking for my wife, whom I had lost, for after all Ayesha is my wife, Horace. She smiled and suggested that I need not look far, in short that the lost wife was already found, in herself, who had come to save me from death in the river. Indeed, she spoke with such conviction that I grew sure that she was not merely amusing herself, and felt very much inclined to believe her, for after all, Ayesha may be changed now. Then, while I was at my wits' end, I remembered the lock of hair, all that remains to us of her," and Leo touched his breast. "I drew it out and compared it with the Khania's, and at the sight of it she became quite different, jealous, I suppose, for it is longer than hers and not in the least like. Horace, I tell you that the touch of that lock of hair, for she did touch it, appeared to act upon her nature like nitric acid upon sham gold. It turned it black. All the bad in her came out. In her anger her voice sounded coarse. Yes, she grew almost vulgar, and as you know, when Ayesha was in a rage she might be wicked as we understand it, and was certainly terrible, but she was never either coarse or vulgar any more than lightning is. Well, from that moment I was sure that whoever this Khania may be, she had nothing to do with Ayesha. They are so different that they never could have been the same, like the hair. So I lay quiet and let her talk, and coax and threaten on, until at length she drew herself up and marched from the room, and I heard her lock the door behind her. That's all I have to tell you, and quite enough too, for I don't think that the Khania has done with me, and to say the truth, I'm afraid of her." "Yes," I said, "quite enough. Now sit still, and don't start or talk loud, for that steersman is probably a spy, and I can feel old Simbri's eye fixed upon our backs. Don't interrupt either, for our time alone may be short." Then I set to work and told him everything I knew, while he listened in blank astonishment. "Great heavens, what a tale!" he exclaimed as I finished. "Now who is this Hesea who sent the letter from the Mountain, and who is the Khania? Who does your instinct tell you that she is, Leo?" "Amenartas?" he whispered doubtfully. The woman who wrote the sherd, whom Ayesha said was the Egyptian princess, my wife 2000 years ago? Amenartas reborn?" I nodded. "I think so. Why not? As I have told you again and again, I have always been certain of one thing, that if we were allowed to see the next act of the piece, we should find Amenartas, or rather the spirit of Amenartas, playing a leading part in it. You will remember I wrote as much in that record. If the old Buddhist monk Kou en could remember his past, as thousands of them swear that they do, and be sure of his identity continued from the past, why should not this woman, with so much at stake, helped as she is by the wizardry of the Shaman, her uncle, faintly remember hers? At any rate, Leo, why should she not still be sufficiently under its influence to cause her, without any fault or seeking of her own, to fall madly in love at first sight with a man whom, after all, she has always loved? The argument seems sound enough, Horace, and if so, I am sorry for the Khania, who hasn't much choice in the matter, been forced into it, so to speak." "Yes, but meanwhile your foot is in a trap again. Guard yourself, Leo, guard yourself. I believe that this is a trial sent to you, and doubtless there will be more to follow. But I believe also that it would be better for you to die than to make any mistake." "I know it well," he answered, "and you need not be afraid. Whatever this Khania may have been to me in the past, if she was anything at all, that story is done with. I seek Ayesha, and Ayesha alone, and Venus herself shall not tempt me from her." Then we began to speak with hope and fear of that mysterious Hesea who had sent the letter from the Mountain, commanding the Shaman Simbri to meet us, the priestess or spirit whom he declared was mighty from old, and had servants in the earth and air. Presently the prow of our barge bumped against the bank of the river, and looking round I saw that Simbri had left the boat in which he sat, and was preparing to enter ours. This he did, and placing himself gravely on a seat in front of us, explained that nightfall was coming on, and he wished to give us his company and protection through the dark. "And to see that we do not give him the slip in it," muttered Leo. Then the drivers whipped up their ponies and we went on again. "Look behind you," said Simbri presently, "and you will see the city where you will sleep tonight." We turned ourselves, and there, about 10 miles away, perceived a flat roofed town of considerable though not of very great size. Its position was good, for it was set upon a large island that stood 100 feet or more above the level of the plain, the river dividing into two branches at the foot of it, and, as we discovered afterwards, uniting again beyond. The vast mound upon which this city was built had the appearance of being artificial, but very possibly the soil whereof it was formed had been washed up in past ages during the times of flood, so that from a mud bank in the centre of the broad river it grew by degrees to its present proportions. With the exception of a columned and towered edifice that crowned the city and seemed to be encircled by gardens, we could see no great buildings in the place. "How is the city named?" asked Leo of Simbri. "Kaloon," he answered, "as was all this land even when my forefathers, the conquerors, marched across the mountains and took it more than 2000 years ago. They kept the ancient title, but the territory of the Mountain they called Hes, because they said that the loop upon yonder peak was the symbol of a goddess of this name whom their general worshipped." "Priestesses still live there, do they not?" said Leo, trying in his turn to extract the truth. "Yes, and priests also. The college of them was established by the conquerors who subdued all the land, or rather it took the place of another college of those who fashioned the Sanctuary and the Temple, whose god was the Fire in the Mountain, as it is that of the people of Kaloon today." "Then who is worshipped there now?" "The goddess Hes, it is said, but we know little of the matter, for between us and the Mountain folk there has been enmity for ages. They kill us and we kill them, for they are jealous of their shrine, which none may visit save by permission to consult the Oracle, and to make prayer or offering in times of calamity, when a Khan dies, or the waters of the river sink and the crops fail. or when ashes fall and earthquakes shake the land, or great sickness comes. Otherwise